I'm here in Maranello, and this town is Ferrari. Everywhere you go, you cannot escape the logo, the name, people just coming to be a part of this brand. Today, we're gonna go inside their iconic factories to see how one of the most powerful racing teams in the world turned Ferrari into one of the world's most valuable brands.
Ferrari is from far the most iconic team in F1.
Per me, la vittoria più importante è quella che devo ancora conseguire.
The historic, the past, and the future. This combination is not an easy one.
Ferrari isn't just a Formula One team, it's part of the soul of the sport itself, the longest running and most successful team in F1 history. For 75 years, the Italian icon has been the bridge between racing's romantic past and its high-tech future. Can you imagine Ferrari without racing?
No, the racing is part of our DNA. I said before, we are born from racing, we are racing, and we will race in the future.
F1 has never been more popular, with its built-in drama captivating fans across the globe like never before. While the prancing horse maintains a massive place in the motorsport imagination, its die-hard fans desperately want Ferrari to get back to championship form. And its leaders in racing and manufacturing know that winning is the best thing for business. So how does the most iconic name in motorsport continue to outpace the competition? This is Power Players. Oh boy. Racing feels intrinsic to Ferrari's very existence. And you know where we're going.
Yes. So the beautiful things of this car that you can drive it like a panda, you know, for going to a supermarket.
Right.
Or you can go really fast.
Getting behind the wheel of one of their road cars, like the 296 GTS I'm in today, is a powerful experience. All right, it's my turn. And even if I'm driving far more cautiously than Lorenzo, I can't help but feel like I'm getting a taste of the Formula One life. But with no major F1 titles in over 15 years and hundreds of millions spent on racing every year, is Ferrari still getting its return on investment? So a lot of people, when they come to Maranello, they end up here in the Ferrari factory. This is the heart of a $6 billion car business that Ferrari has. That's $6 billion worth of cars every year. But keep in mind, there's a cap on how many they make, only about 14,000. And in fact, in 2023, they only made 13,700. Why do they make so few? Well, each engine is made by hand, and that means they're not making that many of them. It's funny to think about how much the Ferrari factory is in conversation with the Ferrari F1 team. There are elements of this that actually feel a lot like a pit lane. There's a countdown clock. There are these guys, you know, running around doing things on very expensive, very fast cars. It's a reminder how much these parts of the business really talk to each other. Ferrari now wholly owns and operates its F1 team, and it's overseen by the same CEO, which isn't the case for all F1 teams, where the consumer car business and the racing business are kept separate.
This is a car that is using a technology that is used also for sports cars.
Right. That man is Ferrari CEO Benedetto Vigna. Vigna has one of the most fascinating career trajectories in the sport, from championing semiconductor technology to now helming a brand he grew up steeped in. For 5 years, I covered Intel, Texas Instruments, like your old world. Oh my God.
It's a different dynamic. It's more transactional.
Right.
That world is more transactional.
Totally.
This is more human.
Yeah. The connection of this brand to Italy, to the Italian people, to the whole world is massive. What was your relationship to the brand Ferrari before this?
My relation starts when I was a child. I would pay, you don't know how much, to find my original backpack. It was blue. I was going to primary school, and there was a red Ferrari with the driver with a yellow helmet.
Wow.
So, you know, all the Italians are very much in love and are very much attached to Ferrari.
And why is that?
You see Ferrari, at least the way I started to see it, for the racing dimension. Racing means what? becoming first, being able to realize your dream. It's about, yes, redefining the limit of possible and with passion.
Yeah.
If you want, it's the story of humankind. It's
Right.
this continuous will to progress. Maybe, at least for me, this is the way I see Ferrari.
So many people come here. I mean, it's a pilgrimage. What are they coming to see?
900,000 people get here in Maranello and Modena to see what we did in our past. I mean, 900,000 people is one person every, let's say 2 persons per minute in the full year considering the night.
That's a lot of people. And I dare say, because I put myself in this category, many of those people are not going to be your customers. I mean, unless something really different happens in my career, I'm probably not going to be a customer. And yet, you know, I'm very drawn to this.
Never say never.
Never say never, exactly. But, you know, aspirations, audaciousness.
In this sense, I like to say that we are a unique company. We are unique because in our company, there are, if you want, 3 wheels that make our brand exclusive and inclusive. Which are these 3 wheels? Number 1 is the heritage and all the storytelling that we are putting around. Number 2 is about the technology content. And then the 3rd wheel is about the racing dimension.
When you come through that gate, you realize how inextricably tied this company is with its racing heritage and the deep connection to Italy. I don't know of many companies that have that connection.
If you want, the history of Ferrari as a company is very much ingrained with the history of Ferrari in the 20th century. Also the history, if you want, of Enzo Ferrari himself, because he was born in 1898. He died in 1988 at 90 years old. We can reconstruct, you know, all the phases of the history of Italy during these 100 years.
Fast forward to 2025, and ironically, Ferrari's F1 team is now guided by a Frenchman. Fred Vasseur took control of what many consider the biggest motorsport brand in the world. The vast majority of Ferrari's revenue comes from the sale of its cars and parts. And in the landscape of F1, the Ferrari brand continues to outpace its rival automakers when it comes to valuations. But with Ferrari's sprawling fanbase watching its every move, Vasseur faces a challenge unlike any other team principal in the sport. How do you lead a team that isn't just racing for F1 championships, but carrying the weight of its most iconic emblem?
It's nice at least to work today with people that grew up in the past with me. For Lewis, it was 20 years ago. Charles, it was 14 years ago. But when I started F1, I was not even dreaming about Ferrari. When I joined Ferrari a couple of years ago is where you feel the brand. When you are outside, it's a bit different. When you are into the company, it's a mega positive feeling. The first time that you arrive to the gate and you have fans the morning, this feeling is something mega strange. Now, let's say like this, that the 10 years before in F1, I had less fan in front of the factory than the first day at Ferrari.
What is it about the brand that attracts so many people, do you think?
Well, you can go everywhere in the world, that on every single track of the championship, you have at least 50% of the fans are tifosi. You go to Australia, you have the fans of Piastri, but you have the fans of Ferrari. You go to China, it's the same. You go everywhere in the world. It's also true at the factory that I don't know at what time you arrived this morning, but the morning we have fans waiting outside just to make a picture. I remember also last year when we won in Monza, that when the mechanics came back at 1 a.m. after the race, that they had still tifosi waiting for them. And this is something unusual in my business. Perhaps it's happened in football teams, but not in motor racing. And this, for us, it's a huge push, a huge energy. And we are taking it like this, that it's an extra motivation.
Extra motivation, a lot of pressure, too.
I always put the pressure on myself.
The pressure at Ferrari is so high that its most recent bumpy season had persistent rumors circulating that Vasseur's job was at risk, until they announced he'd signed a multi-year contract in late summer of 25.
It's a tough exercise, but I think Ferrari is the best example that we can be very proud of the past and to look after the future. It's part of the magic of Ferrari.
Here's Italy's Ferrari, 13 times world champion.
Sporting dimension, racing, for us, has been key through all the history. Having the racing side embedded in the company has several advantages. I would like to say that maybe the biggest advantage It's a way that you develop technologies that you bring later from the track to the road.
It's a technological pipeline that's been flowing for decades, turning the weekend's racing innovations into Monday's automotive breakthroughs. And it's a huge part of why F1 remains so fruitful for Ferrari. In the 1960s, Ferrari's V12 engines, developed in F1 competition, became the beating heart of legendary road cars like the 250 GTO and Daytona. The aerodynamic features developed for their racing prototypes at Le Mans helped shape the sleek bodywork of supercars throughout the 1970s. And in the 80s, the carbon fiber construction techniques perfected under racing's extreme conditions formed the backbone of models like the SF90. Even seemingly simple innovations make the jump. Paddle shifters that F1 drivers used to change gears in milliseconds became standard in Ferrari road cars by the late 90s. More recently, the same hybrid technology that powers many other high-performance vehicles first appeared in Ferrari's 2013 LaFerrari supercar. And Ferrari's advanced aerodynamics continued to be developed in wind tunnels for racing and also help road cars accelerate more efficiently. The question now is whether that same transfer will work as Ferrari prepares for its biggest technological leap yet, going fully electric.
The first time we, Ferrari, had an electrified car was in Formula 1, 2009, with F1. And then 4 years later, we had the supercar electrified in 2013. And then after that, in 2019, we announced 6 hybrid cars. Then we had the F80 supercar hybrid, and then we had 2 other hybrid recently. And if you want the next step that we will start to unveil end of this year for the electric car is a natural progression. It's a way to demonstrate that we in Ferrari can harness any technology to deliver unique emotion to the driver.
Is the journey for electrification maybe slowing a bit based on the market, what the market will bear or not?
No, and I say no. No, I'm telling this for the obvious reason you may know. But we said, it was 16 June 22, the Capital Market Day, we said we will unveil the car in Q4 25. And that's where we are. Right. So we are proceeding according to the plan. If you open the window here, you can see the E-building. That is a building where we can make any kind of car. I think that we are on track with the plan of electric car. We are on track with a flexible manufacturing infrastructure that enable us to do any car the client wants.
But Ferrari's electric journey has been no easy road. And by sinking millions into the E-building, Vigna is certainly taking on no small risk and plenty of skepticism. There's been reports there's little demand for an electric model, there's challenges building batteries capable of the speed Ferrari requires, and then there's the issue of the Ferrari roar being replaced by silent engines. Plus, it's taken them more than a decade of development to get to this point into a very uncertain market. It's such an interesting opportunity challenge, however you want to approach it, to balance that legacy aspect, that heritage, with innovation. You know, you have to be so technologically advanced, and yet you do have this, this legacy. How do you balance that?
There is only one flow of information, if you want, because the sport team is always more advanced than the sport car team. All the car that we have today on the road are having some features that have been developed thanks to our racing activities. I think there are 3 ways to do innovation. One is technology push. You have a technology you push on the market. One is market pull. You wait for the client to tell you what to do. Another one, that is what we do, is emotion-driven innovation. What does it mean? It means that I use that specific technology with one goal in mind, to activate the emotional part of the driver. I see with optimism the future. And I think this is important. Not easy, but to do this properly, you need to be ready that if you make some mistake, well, you can recover. There was a nice sentence of Enzo Ferrari that was telling the best Ferrari will be the next one.
That next Ferrari race car will be one built not by choice, but out of necessity, as the team is staring down a brand new regulation in 2026 for all of Formula One, one that many consider the biggest technical revolution in decades, and one that will completely rewrite the rules for engines, chassis, and fuel systems all at once. It's a clean slate that could either re-establish Ferrari's dominance or expose its relative weakness against an increasingly competitive field, one that will welcome an American team, Cadillac, to the grid in 2026. In 2026, the new regulations come out. You're already, sort of thinking about that. From an engineering perspective, is that exciting to you? I mean, it must be a big potential, but also a challenge, right?
26, it's the biggest challenge of the F1 of the last 30 years, perhaps. And this, for sure, it's full of unknown. Today, we are starting from a clean sheet, and we have to do our own project. We don't know if the others are going on complete different directions and so, and you have to trust yourself on your choices to be self-confident to move forward. But it's a challenge because we don't know at all about what the others will do, and it's
with your engineering hat, what do you think about looking around the corner?
Probably that the challenge is to stay where we are in terms of success, exposure, and to lead the techno. And what is difficult is that we had a kind of inertia to the regulation to decide what will be the regulation of 2035. I would say that almost we have to decide it now. We have between 5 and 10 years. It means that it's not easy to imagine what will be the car industry in 2035. That that I think people are changing now quite quickly, and it's a challenge.
While Vasseur grapples with the complexities of racing technology, Ferrari's also evolving on the commercial side. The same technological revolution reshaping Formula One in the garage is transforming how the business operates, from the partnerships it pursues to the fans it reaches. Lorenzo Giorgetti, Ferrari's chief revenue officer, has watched the sport explode into a global entertainment phenomenon that's rewriting the rules of sports marketing and paving the way for the future of Ferrari.
The biggest game changer was the TV production. It improved a lot. It's a very complicated sport. It was impossible to be accessible. If you watch even 5 races of 20 years ago, you don't understand anything.
Right.
Since Liberty purchased F1, put in place to enlarge the audience and make sure that it was not just focused on the motor racing fans, but stretching a lot into such more mainstream sport events. So I think the biggest innovation that has been done by Liberty was creating a lot of information, data, team radio, giving the possibility to more people to understand the sport. Then it came the Netflix effect.
These guys have an almost fighter pilot mentality.
It's easier for them to be close to this kind of way of consuming sport. For us, the brand is the equity of the company, and we need to make sure that everyone who touches our brand is able to do it in a way that is healthy for both.
The brand connection with motorsports fans with Ferrari does feel deeper than any other brand. Is that just a perception, or is that actually true?
We call it inspire the dream of many while you deliver the dream of few.
Ferrari attributes most of its recent growth in brand awareness to the media growth of F1. Meanwhile, according to Ferrari's recent studies, they claim that 390 million fans world over and more than 40% of the total F1 fan base.
That's something that gives us this stature, which is important for brands and partners, because you don't partner with brands that they have their own commercial strategy, they have their own main goal while they are in F1. We are in F1 for the fans.
When you think about, looking after the racing revenue, how do you see the relationship between sort of the overall company and racing when it comes to the business? How does each inform each other?
This ecosystem was not possible before because Scuderia Ferrari was completely separated by sports car. And
Interesting.
Not reporting to the CEO. And this has happened with software, with hardware, with many different products that the partners are happy to integrate their service with what Ferrari is doing. And that's the reality of what has changed in the last 3 years to Ferrari, but in the last 1 year, if you consider to F1, they have onboarded Louis Vuitton, Barilla, KitKat, Disney, all consumer brands.
How do you think about sort of the business side of F1? You know, you were in demand with sponsors and partners, and how do you sort of weave that into the job?
Yeah, we had a huge change in F1 the last 5 years. Clearly that the F1 was struggling before the COVID, I would say, and before Netflix. For different reasons, with different factors, we had a complete upside down on the business side, mainly due to Netflix, honestly, that it was a big change in F1 that attracting a lot of new fans. We were in the situation that we were keeping the same fan over the years for ages, and we were able to attract new fans, that the profile of the fan changed, much younger, much more female, and for the sponsor, it's a game changer.
Help me understand how Formula One does fit in as a business.
It's key today, will be key in the future, and that's also the reason why we have Le Mans hypercar, also the racing on the ocean.
Right.
The super boat, allow me to call it in this way, the hypersail.
Yes.
Activities. I think this is important because in that domain, you develop technologies and you provide also a platform that attract partners that are willing to work together with us.
How does that get reflected sort of day to day, that sort of that marriage between the racing side and the sports car side?
It's delivering a platform that is universal to engage sponsors in different activities. There is one important message that for me is very important. We have always to stay humble. We have always to have a confident humility. We have always to stay with the 4 wheels on the ground, because the things can go well in one race and they don't go well in the following race. You know, a lot of times you have to push the management to do training courses to remember them that you have to be paranoid.
How do you measure return on investment for racing? Is this a profitable business for you?
But I would like to say in this way, I mean, there is, as I said, the return is on at least 2 dimensions. Number one is more material, if you want, more measurable. It's about the number of sponsors you are able to bring on board, okay? Number 2, indirect, but is important because over there you are developing technologies that you bring later to the sport car. Right. I like to say that, you know, our brand is like a nut. There is a liquid inside that you have to protect. The thickness of the nutshell, you have to nurture it, otherwise it becomes thinner and thinner. The racing activities is a way for us to make thicker and thicker the nutshell. And how the racing is supporting is helping to make thicker the nutshell that is protecting the brand soul. I like to visualize in this way. We have 2 eyes. With one eye, we have to look at the past. With one eye, we have to look at the future. Then we have one brain. We have to put together information. We have to make up, you know, our model of the world. We know how we get here, but we also need to question ourselves if what we did still makes sense to do for the future, or we have to take some risk, because at the end of the story, if you want to redefine the limit of possible, you have to do something that is new.
Can Ferrari maintain its position as the heart of racing while adapting to an increasingly digital landscape? The company continues to capture the imagination of fans around the world, but also must live up to their expectations and deliver with results. At the end of the day, Ferrari's mission is one driven by passion, and that passion doesn't show any signs of letting up anytime soon.